The Rosen Report, sports like never before. Brought to you by Gooch Live and Paramount Sports Management. Here's Rosie.
No, it's not. I am not Rosie. Unfortunately, we're having a little bit of a technical issue at Paramount Sports with the Wi-Fi. Paul will be joining us on the Rosen Report. I'm really honored to have Chris Driedger with us. Paul's going to be doing the interview with Chris. I know he's in Florida, just getting ready for the next couple of games here. He had a morning skate. How exciting it is to have this man right here. Look at that. That is Chris Driedger. This artwork was done for us while he was over in Australia. He's an incredible guy. Paul's going to come up here and do the interview. Unfortunately, we just had a couple of technical issues when it comes to Wi-Fi. We all know how it is, and it is today one of those things. Hey, listen, we're going to bring Paul up right now. We'll see if everything's working. Mr. Rosen.
Hey, Gooch. You got me?
How you doing, buddy? Yeah, you look great.
Well, doing okay now that the phone works, not the computer, but always something technical.
Yeah,
we
that's
got
all.
it. I can
and
hear
saying hello.
So,
and
perfect.
Robert Wine. All right, buddy, you have a great show. I'll come up at the
Okay.
end. We'll talk a little bit about the Australia. Really looking forward to it. Paul Rosen on the Rosen Report.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Show number 13. I'm really honored to have Chris Driedger on. He for me in Australia. He's had a really solid NHL career going. But first, as always, Rosie's rant. I could actually rant about the Wi-Fi when you're not a computer guy and you're all set and you got your notes and your laptop's there, and then the Wi-Fi goes down and you got to run and get a charger because you don't have your phone. But I won't. I'm going to rant about what it's like to be a player, whether it's a goalie like Driedger or myself, and have fans think that they can play the game better than you from their parents' basement. You know, on Thursday, we're going to have the reunion show. It'll be 15 years this Thursday that we won the gold medal in Torino, March the 18th, 2006. Having a bunch of the guys on the show. It's going to be great. But I love watching people that are living in their parents' basement criticize the guy that let a goal in or the guy that missed the open net. So I want to put this out to everybody in their parents' basement that are watching or going to watch the next time the Panthers play. Just remember, the game is much easier when you're in your parents' basement than when you're on the ice. Now, no fans, but when there's 15,000, 18,000 fans. So let's maybe use your brains a little when you watch the game, knowing you can turn it off and go upstairs and Mom will make you some meatloaf. That's it for that. That's 13th Rosie's rant. Let's bring up Chris Driedger.
What's up, Paul? Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Hey, that's just my rant there. Does that drive you crazy sometimes? I know you got to be careful because you're playing, but, you know, when the guy in his mom's basement, you know, meatloaf and he thinks he can actually play better than you when he's watching it on TV?
Well, luckily for me, I'm not really hearing too many of the people call to their mom up to making meatloaf. I think that's kind of on in their house, and if they hit me on Twitter or whatever, I'm not really paying too much attention to that. But it's definitely an epidemic, I'm sure, across the nation. But luckily, I don't have to hear too much of it.
Good. Hey, listen, before we get into what's going on now, let's get back to that day. It's almost, I was looking it up, March 26th. It's coming up on 2015, your first game in the NHL for Ottawa against the Rangers. Go back to that day, that first time you put the jersey on for your first NHL game.
Yeah, so that one was a while ago now. It would have been in the middle of a pretty wild season for me. I think I played 40 games in the East Coast League, and we were just on a terrible team. I think my record, it was something ridiculous, like 8-27 or something like that. Weren't doing a whole lot of winning, but then we had two guys get injured, Anderson and Robin Leonard, both went down. So that was kind of when the Hamburglar went on his run. And I was up, backing up, like wide-eyed. Holy smokes, this is the NHL. And then so Hammy ended up with 1 loss in regulation that year, and it was that game. He went 20 wins, 1 loss, and like 2 overtime losses or something crazy. So that 1 loss was against the Rangers. They kind of pumped a few past him quick. 2 went in the second, I want to say, and it was like either 4 or 5 to 1. And our coach, Dave Cameron, I believe it was at the time, looked over and he just gave me the point, and then that one, and all of a sudden your heart kind of sinks down into your chest a little bit, and heart rate goes up a little bit, and you just go in, and luckily nothing went past me. I think we kind of dialed it in after that. I think I maybe had 10 shots, something like that. So it was a pretty surreal moment. I remember just trying to have as much fun as I can in that moment and enjoy it. It wasn't expected, which I know I had. So 4 years after that, have my first NHL start. They give you a little bit more time to think about it. But yeah, when you go in cold like that, and you just kind of go, and it's all instinct. So not too much time to overthink it can sometimes be a positive.
Hey, do you think when a goalie goes in, like, the Leafs a couple of days ago, and I know Hutch well, when he was 12 years old, he started training with the Jamie Maguire, where I was training. So he lets a couple of bad ones in right away, and he comes in. Do you think the team, especially when it's the backup coming in cold off of an injury, or whether the number one is having what does the team do? Do they pick it up immediately? Like, I know it is sled, or does the captain come over to you and say, "Hey, Driedger, don't worry, brother, just do whatever you can"?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on the situation, right? So sometimes the team's having a tough game. I know this happened in Vegas the other day. They should put a kid in for his first NHL game, similar to mine that we just talked about against the Rangers. Flowers playing great all night, and then it's 1-1 going into third, and they pumped 3 past him, kind of bang, 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 and I don't really think any of them were really his fault, and they yanked him, and it was kind of just like hey guys, pick up your socks a little bit. We're hanging our goalie out to dry. New guy comes in, and all of a sudden Vegas plays a great game, and I think they came back. They scored a few goals. I'm not sure if they won or not. I don't recall exactly, but it was just kind of a wake-up call for the team, and not necessarily something bad against the goalie. So there's that situation. Sometimes you're just having a tough night, and you need to get out of there. So the coach puts the other guy in. I think I remember watching the highlights of the Hutchinson game. I think he probably would have wanted 2 of those back, and they're pretty quick off the bat. So sometimes you just one slips past you early and it kind of rattles you, and then you get another bad break right off the bat. So when 2 that you kind of don't like go in, sometimes you just need to give the team a chance and put the other guy in, and then live to fight another day. So I forget seeing how that one ended. Also, I know Andy let in another couple of goals, but yeah, I mean, it's never a good thing when your goalie gets pulled. It obviously means that there's something going on, whether it's the goalie or the team. So it's usually a good wake-up call for the guys, and more often than not, they respond positively.
Yeah, absolutely. Brady Leibold, who's an incredible guy in Hockey League. He's got his own podcast, Hockey to Hell and Back, the Road to Recovery. He says, hey, man, congrats on your success. You're a grinder, and he's proud of you. You remember when we're not going to get into Australia right now, but I remember talking to the room, and I just knew if you got your chance to play, you were going to show it, and you are right now with Florida. That I want the average fan that's watching, the listener that maybe doesn't understand the difference, the jump. So you played in the Western Hockey League, I said, with in the Western League, and what's the biggest difference when you're in the Western Hockey League, whether it's in Tri-City, you were with the Hitman too, were you not?
Yeah, I was in Calgary for 3 of my years in junior.
So the big difference, you're in junior, it's crazy out in the league. Then you get drafted. The biggest change for a goaltender going from junior, major, junior to the NHL, what would you say to the average fan watching?
Yeah, I mean, when you make the jump from junior, it's quite a jump. There's a lot to learn going into pro, and I think that's kind of why Ottawa decided to pop me in the East Coast League, just kind of get my feet wet in pro in kind of the lower level and learn how to be a professional. Because I know in Calgary, things go well and you're feeling good, you have confidence, maybe you're not really paying the most attention to, keeping your hips loose and getting enough sleep, proper nutrition, stuff like that. So I know that for me was a bit of a learning curve coming into pro, just doing all the little things properly. And it really took me, multiple seasons to kind of figure that. Well, I wouldn't even say figure it out. I'm still trying to figure it out. But to really get a hold on what my body needs from me to perform consistently at a high level. I know, in junior, you can kind of go out and skate by on a good team when you're not feeling your best because, in Calgary, we're pretty dominant. You go into Lethbridge wasn't great at the time, and, you knew you were walking out with 2 points. In pro, there's guys that can score, especially in the NHL on any team. So you really have to be dialed in for every night, and you can't really take nights off. If you take nights off, it's kind of what we just talked about. You get pulled, and that doesn't look good on the resume. Coaches don't like that. So I think it was for me just kind of nailing down those little things and getting my consistency up because, over the course of the season, you play however many games, it doesn't really matter if you have a few great games. You have to be able to do it throughout an entire season. And, there's long nights, long road trips, tough travel, and it gets a lot. So just the little things go a long way.
Yeah, that bus ride, I'm sure, is not fun. Playing sled when we'd go somewhere in Sweden and people would think you just land there. Sometimes you got a 7 or 8 hour bus ride. I wanted to talk to you about coaching. This reunion show on Thursday, which I'm so excited about. I had a couple of coaches that I'd rather not talk about that were not the most supportive, but I also had a coach in Jeff Snyder, a massive part of my success on the team. Talk to us about some of the coaches that really meant a lot to you, especially where you are in the success you're having this year, Chris.
Yeah, so for me personally, it's a lot of the goalie coaches that have the most direct impact on me. The head coach and I don't really communicate too much as they would communicate with, maybe the top, the top line or the D pairing and stuff like that. They kind of tend to just let the goalie coaches deal with the goalies, which is probably for the best. But yeah, it's a lot of really good goalie coaches over the years that have helped me progress to where I'm at. I mean, from even in, from before junior and, my first goalie coach ever was my dad. So if it wasn't for him kind of getting the gears rolling, then it probably wouldn't be here right now. So he's the biggest one for sure. But then over the years, I worked with guys in Winnipeg, just to name a few, like Rick St. Croix. He's the goalie coach with the Moose right now. He had a stint with the Leafs for a little bit. Really, really great guy, a lot of wisdom. Learned from him and doing his camps growing up. The guys I have now and in the American League were huge too. I know when I came into Springfield as the number 5 guy 2 seasons ago, Leo Luongo, which is Roberto's younger brother, he's a goalie coach there, and I kind of went to him and I kind of gave him the lay of the land. I said, hey, these things can keep creeping in my game, and I think that it starts in practice. I know this. I need your help holding me accountable. And he said, absolutely. And we kind of got on the same page right away and just worked into a good dynamic where we could have a little back and forth, and he'd let me know if I was taking the drill off or whatever. And then to right now with Rob Tallis as my goalie coach here in Florida. So he's been great too. He just keeps me feeling really good. He's such a positive guy. And he's had an incredibly positive influence on just keeping me feeling good. And, we just actually went out today. It's a day off for the guys, but we went out on the ice, just me and him. And, banged out some goalie drills and, had some good conversation about the position and what it takes to, have success. So a lot of guys, over the years, and it's cool seeing how you kind of take bits and pieces from each of their philosophies and techniques, coaching styles, and just kind of group that all into to your game. So it's been good, and I've been fortunate.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we get into where we are right now, it's always nice when the puck's in the glove, eh? People say, what a nice stop. And they go, yeah, it's nice because the puck's in the glove, not in the net. So I see behind it, looks like it's beautiful. You got the fan on your room, and it looks like a nice little view palm tree in Florida. What's the biggest difference between a beautiful sunny day in Florida and growing up in freezing cold Winnipeg? I know Gooch is probably yelling at me behind the scenes right now, for being from Winnipeg. Must be nice spending a winter in your place.
I'll tell you what, I was fully committed to spending the entire winter in Florida this year. So even with the season starting a little bit later, my girlfriend and I said there's no way we're going to stick around up north for the winter when we have the option to go to Florida. So it's pretty nice. You see out right now, it's sunny, and I think it was like 85 degrees today. So it's hard to complain when you're down here. You wake up every morning, beautiful weather. It's green outside. I know in the places I played in the American League, it's not too green outside. So you go to the rink and, there's clouds, it's snowy. Some of the cities are not the most lively of cities. So we're blessed here in Florida. It is really nice. Hard to argue that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there we go. James, the producer, we got it going. Yeah, listen, it's hard for me to read. Normally I'm on my computer. I'm on my phone right now, so it's hard to read these. But I'm going to try to read from Brady Levo. What do you do to get back focused when you're scored on? Seems like every goalie has something different.
Good question. So I was fortunate. One of the influences on my game when I was in Calgary, I worked with a sports psychologist by the name of Dave Paskovich, and I think he worked with the Flames a little bit, maybe done some stuff with the Olympic team. And I just sort of got in touch with him and kind of wanted to hear some of his philosophies. And one of the things that he passed along to me was, I think he called it the 5 R's. And if I can recite these all back, it's going to be impressive. But it's something like, so after you get scored on, you go through the five R's, which are release. So you release it and say, hey, this happened, accept it, move to the next step. Release, relax. So you chill out, which is also underrated and very important. Review. So you just kind of go over the goal and see, okay, was I too deep? Did I bite on the passer? Whatever it is. What could I have done to maybe stop this goal the next time that happens? And then the next 2 are regroup and refocus. So right now I'm not really like thinking, when a goal goes in, I'm not like, let's do the 5 R's. It's just kind of more just the process of just relaxing, chilling out, accepting the goal went in, reviewing, see what happened and what I could have done differently, and then leave it in the past and regroup and get ready for the next shot. So I kind of skate to my corner. I'll do like 2 corners after a goal usually, and just try and do my review in that time. And by the time, I get back into the net, the goal's gone and I'm thinking about the next shot. So that's kind of the idea. Sometimes it doesn't always go exactly according to plan, but that's my plan that I have. And the better I can follow that, the better chance I give myself.
Yeah, we're having some You there, Chris? We're having some issues, I think,
Yeah.
with the internet. So now let's talk about Florida if we can. Hopefully, we'll get another 10 minutes out of this. There. Okay. Hopefully, this will work. Florida right now, the team is playing great. You're playing great. You got 7 wins right now.
And it's the first time, Chris, we bring you on and everything falls apart. Paul's so excited about, and he should be. Unfortunately, every show has been great. We bring you on, and listen, we're so excited. I did, as Paul comes back on, I did want to say something to you. I never knew why a goalie, and I was going to ask Paul this after the show, why a goalie went and skated around. And now you've explained it to me. You get out of that net to go into the corners. It gives you time to kind of calm it down. Is that what I understand?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I do it after every whistle, more or less. But I'll tell you what, Gooch, it gets a little sweaty in that gear, and you're just sitting in the net. So getting a little bit of cold wind on your face doesn't hurt either. So it's kind of a 2-for-1. So
does it give you that opportunity? You skate over there, even if you haven't had a goal, it just gets you to kind of relax and get back into the focus. Is that what?
Yeah. And my goalie coach and I, he has his term, Rob Tallis does, called anchors. And, it's just kind of like it anchors you back into feeling a certain way. So every time you go back to your corner, you come back and feel good, and it anchors you back into where you need to be mentally. So it's just kind of a little reset, gives you a little break. So I found it helps me. I know a lot of guys do it. So, yeah.
Hey, listen, Dennis Rook has joined us. Hi, congratulations on all your success. I've been following you and keeping up on top of what you're doing. I saw great goaltending over in Australia, New Zealand. We will talk about that in a few minutes. I'm just hoping that Paul can get. It's unfortunate, as you know, it's windy up here. You're very fortunate to be in warm weather. We were like 18 above. I was in a Speedo the other day out back. You can imagine that for a second.
I don't want to
imagine
that.
The next day, I'm in a parka. I felt I was back in Winnipeg. But for you, I want to ask you, what's the difference between, you get flip-flops, you're out in a golf course, and then all of a sudden you got to go to practice. It's got to be a really strange dynamic for you.
Yeah. I mean, so during the season, especially this season, we were playing so many games. Like we're playing 4 games a week, basically every week. We have a couple of 3-game weeks squeezed in there, and those are breaks for us. This is the first 2-day break we've had in a couple of weeks. So it's a lot of hockey. So when we have days off, you go into the rink and practice or whatever, get a quick workout in and come back and go home. So there's not too much extracurriculars going on. That our schedule mixed it with the fact that we're in lockdown more or less. We can't really go out and do too much stuff, that we would usually do during a normal season. So, well, it's great. I'm spending some good time on the patio. Other than that, I'm not really unfortunately able to enjoy too much of the weather, but getting out for a walk, or we've been to the beach a few times, is really nice.
Hey, listen, we really apologize for the situation with Paul. We will get him on again. You and I will do a threesome one day, maybe a couple weeks from now. Or let's wait till you win the Stanley Cup and we'll all party together like rock stars. Obviously, he did have some questions that he wanted his listeners to hear. The hardest shooter that you've had against you, meaning that, is there a guy that has your number, and then reverse, who do you have their number? Is there somebody that he's not scoring on me?
That's a good point. Well, unfortunately, a guy that scored me a couple times this year is Vincent Trocheck, and he's an ex-Panther, so he's had a good run against us. He's always. I think he scored on. I think I've played them 3 times. Bob's played him once, and I think he scored all 4 games. So Troch has been pretty hot against us. But I'm not too sure about.
All right, let me give you some names. Let me give you some names.
I'm all ears.
Ovechkin.
Well, I actually haven't played against him yet. He's not in our division, so
No, but
probably.
in the history, have you played against him in history? Have you not?
No. I haven't played against Washington. I only have 20. So I only have 12 games last year. So I played against a handful of teams, but and then I guess a few from before that, just little stints. But then this year is the majority of my games, and that's been just against the other 7 teams in our division. So we got
what about Stamkos?
Stammer, yeah, he actually got me bar down one timer on his return to the ice this year. So that was a good welcome back for him. Not so much for me.
Here's a question coming from a guy that shot the puck, not tried to stop it. Those one-timers where they're shooting it across from one side to the other, why can't, especially when it's Ovechkin or it's Liney or it's Stammer, how come you guys can't stop that? You know it's going to him. How come you can't get over there quick enough? I'm not specific, I'm just saying in general.
I think those guys have it down to an art. I don't know. I think Stamkos has maybe taken 1 or 2 of those in his career. So I think he, whatever it is he's doing is working, and I don't think he's changing the recipe too much.
Hey, listen, you are watching the Rosen Report. I am not Paul Rosen. I could not stop a beach ball, for God's sake. So Paul wanted me to ask this question. The arena that you played in outside, and we'll go into Australia in a few seconds, but the arena that you've played in the National Hockey League, where you got a net, you looked around and said, I'm really here. This is unbelievable. Which favorite rink?
Definitely Madison Square Garden. In New York is pretty special going in there. There's always, I actually don't know if I've been in the net there, but I've definitely been there while we've played. I've definitely backed up there multiple times and practiced there. So it's a pretty special place. Like there's always celebrities in the stands, and it's just like a really legendary arena. You hear stories of Bobby Orr having to walk up the ramp to MSG back in the day, and then you're walking up the ramp to get to the rink. It's kind of cool. So yeah, I would say MSG for sure is the number 1 for me.
So if you don't mind me asking, what are your rituals? Do you have a ritual where, you get to the rink, you have to be there 3 hours before, eat a couple of hamburgers, or you cook a steak on the Barbie? Is there anything that you could tell us? Because I know Paul loves this one, because we always talk about Gretzky having one of his best games, eating 3 corn dogs out in the LA. Is there anything that you do that is not normal? Because goalies aren't normal.
No. I keep hearing, you keep pointing out that we're not normal. So I'm trying to think of any routines. I try and talk about them as routines. So if they don't go my way, then it's not the end of the world. Whereas if you have a ritual that you have to do every single time, if it goes wrong, then sometimes you're not good mentally. So. No, for me, I try to keep it pretty simple. I like to play a lot of, I guess, which is unique for a goalie, is play a lot of soccer before the game. We have the little 2-touch game. I love it. I've been playing it my whole, junior career and pro. So, I have a lot of fun doing that with the guys. We have a great group this year. I think every single guy on our team, maybe except for like 2 guys, come in for the game. So it gets pretty rowdy. So that's a lot of fun. But other than that, yeah, I show up to the rink like about 4:15 for 7 o'clock game, and tape a stick and have a coffee, hang out. I go through a little stretching routine and play a little 2-touch. I got a juggling routine, I guess you could say, that I go through to get my hand-eye warmed up, and then after that, it's pretty much. I try and do the same warm up on the ice, and I have a few different things I do during that, but.
Don't give us your secrets. Don't give us your secrets. Everybody's listening.
Keep it simple. Yeah, I try to keep it simple so that it's not something insane that I got to do every time to feel good and ready to play. I just try to come in, do stuff that's easy and makes me feel good, and hopefully the rest takes care of itself.
Can you juggle? Like, can you just here you go or is it just up against the wall?
No, I can juggle. I can juggle off the wall. So I'll do a little bit like just in the air, a little bit off the wall.
So after your playing career is done, maybe you'll try American's Got Talent?
Yeah, maybe the Cirque du Soleil. We'll see.
All right, tell us about this. And I've seen you do it. that glove save that you make, it's a big game. There's pre-COVID, of course, there's 20,000 people in a ring, and you slide over right here, the question, and you make that glove save. How do you feel?
I mean, it's a good feeling, Gooch. I'm not going to lie to you, but yeah, it's just sometimes those go your way and sometimes they don't. You know, I had one that, yeah, that's probably more of a routine one. I mean, that one looks like whoever the photographer on that was doing a great job that night. But yeah, it's a good feeling. You know, it's just, you know, when things are going your way, pucks hit you and pucks go in the glove. So hard to complain about that.
All right, so let's get final parts on the NHL. Then we'll do Australia, and then I know you got to get back to lawn bowling or something that obviously gets you fired up. Let's talk about, obviously, you're in Florida, you're playing at a high level. Did you ever think in the past when maybe you were having, you know, goalies are those type of guys, we all love you. Listen, if you're playing on a team without a good goalie, you could be the best offensive talent. You always have to be confident in your goaltender. And I know a lot of guys are confident with you. How did you look back in your career where there's a time saying, God, am I ever going to get, is this going to turn? Is there anything that you could give a young boy or girl right now that are sitting in, obviously in the COVID situation, that doesn't know if it's ever going to come back? Could you give them a positive moment saying, listen, this is what I did. I felt, you know, the game was ready. I was ready for the big times.
Yeah, I mean, there's been plenty of times when I've gotten caught or just had a rough go and just kind of get back to the drawing board and get back to it. So I know for me, there's been a few recently. There's been a few when I was younger. I know I got caught when I was 11 years old from AA, and it was the worst day of my life at the time. I was crying and the whole bit. And then, you know what? It ended up being a good thing. I ended up being on a really good team. There's a couple other guys that got cut that maybe, you know, were on the edge, and you know, we all played really well and ended up winning the championship that year and ended up all making the team the next year. So that was one early example of just getting cut and you know, making the most out of it. And then recently you know, Ottawa, the Senators, and I kind of parted ways, and I had to start from the ground up in the Florida organization on a one-way American League deal. So that was another time when I just kind of was like, all right, back to the drawing board. Let's you know, reinvent me and let's try and make it better this time. And just trying to chipped away at that and just kind of tried and made the most of my opportunities. So it took a bit of a while for me to get here. I guess the unconventional route is take 6 years to get your first NHL start, but you know, it's taught me a lot, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Well, we're so proud of you, and obviously having you over Australia. Let's talk a little bit about that. This was made by a photographer over there. He just thought the world of you. Of course, he loved the Canadian team, and of course, here's the actual picture that it was taken from. Incredible.
That's a great piece of artwork there. That's really cool.
Unbelievable. So talk to us a little bit about that. I know Paul really wanted to do all this because he was so excited about you being in net for him, and you know, it was an honor to coach Team Canada. Of course, he won a silver medal. There, the boys are partying like a rock star. That's not the real Stanley Cup, guys. I just want to go on record. That was just, we still can't find it after that party. It's gone. It's somewhere in Australia. I don't know where.
Yeah.
How much?
That's a great picture.
Yeah, I'm going to let you talk us through the Australian tour, because I called you up and I gave you this crazy spiel. Hey, come on over. Walk us through it for just a couple of minutes, how it all went. Because don't brag about how great I am, because it's all Tony. But talk to us a little bit about this.
Yeah, it was an awesome experience. I've done it 3 times now. So, I mean, obviously I kept coming back for a reason. You know, I love to travel, and playing hockey, we don't really have tons of time to. Oh, there's me getting scored on. Great, thanks.
No. That went wide. I checked it. It went wide.
Okay, sure.
It's Lazorko. It's Lazorko shooting. So
yeah, Noble playing good defense there. But no, it was a great experience for me. Like I was saying, we don't really get too much time to travel. You know, during the season we get to bop around. the States and Canada a little bit, but going to Australia was something that was pretty much out of the question. We can't really take, a month off, 3 weeks off of training to hop on a plane for 16 hours to fly across the world, So when there's an opportunity where you can do hockey and traveling and it's expenses covered, it's pretty hard to say no to that. So all 3 times I've done it, the 2 in Australia and the once in New Zealand were incredible experiences. The hockey was great. Still keep in touch with a lot of the guys. We just have a blast going different dinner spots, having fun with the guys along the way. And I was fortunate to do it with a few buddies from the Ottawa organization a few times, Ben Harper and Nick Paul. We had a ton of fun. So, I don't really need to pump your tires too much. It was a great experience, and hopefully we can get that going again once this coronavirus nonsense is behind us.
You just saw that picture. Bring that picture up of the rink. Obviously, people don't realize that we build this rink over there. You were there for the little bit of fun we had in Wellington, were you not? I
was, yeah. When the rink blew over, that was unfortunate. Well, it would have been a really cool experience if that all went smoothly.
Well, we're going to show you a video as we leave you go in a few minutes, and this will make up for it. So hopefully we'll have Driedger back in net for us. But obviously this is called the Kudos Arena. As everybody knows, there's no ice there. We built this ice, and it brought 20,000 people to watch you guys play. And I'll tell you what, Driedger, not only were you a great ambassador, not only a great goaltender, but what you did for us, you helped us raise money for our causes, Stop Concussions, and now Connected Mental Health. A lot of people don't know how much you do with the goodwill and all the great stuff that you do. We couldn't have done it without you. So Driedger, I can't thank you enough. Listen, Paul does this rapid fire. I'm going to try. I know I can't do it as good as he can. So I know he sent you a virtual seatbelt. So why don't you plug it in, and I'll see if I can play Paul Rosen for a couple of seconds. All right. So the seatbelt's on. Tighten up. I'm going to give you 5 questions. We want one answer. Don't get into a long-winded. I just want one answer. Can you do that?
Yeah, no problem.
Favorite movie?
Interstellar.
Favorite band?
Blink 182.
I thought Bieber. Favorite sport?
Gonna go with hockey.
Favorite food?
Ooh. Pizza.
Favorite place to visit?
Australia.
Okay, final question on this rapid fire. We're going one alive. Here it is. Listen to this one. Who is your favorite guy that took you over to Australia?
I'm thinking Tony's probably number 1.
You're fantastic. Listen, we can't thank you enough. We apologize for a little bit of glitch. We will get that figured out. I know how much this meant to Paul, so thank you for doing this for Paul, and I know you'll be gracious enough. We'll redo it one day, not too far in the distance. But here's what I want to show you. I hope that Chris Driedger will join us to make up for that outdoor game. The funny thing is, I remember us all standing out. It was amazing. You saw this big, huge rink and everything done. We just couldn't get the ice frozen due to some technical issues. Funny, we're having technical issues here. Maybe they're following me around. And you guys were absolutely amazing. The game had to be postponed. We had 15,000 people in the rink. And what did you guys do? You jumped up in the crowd. You signed autographs. You made people feel like it was a hockey game. And so for that, thank you. And so I want to repay you. I want to get you back. Watch this. we are putting the band back together, and we're going to Queenstown for an outdoor game in Queenstown. And I know you know how beautiful that country, that city is.
Yeah, Queenstown was probably maybe my favorite spot on the trip. So count me in for that.
All right, buddy. Can't thank you enough for doing this. I know we'll organize you and Paul having another one-on-one. Thank you. All the best to you. We are, every time you're playing, we're watching. We won't text you during the game to say how great you are. I'll always leave it till after you're done. We're really proud of you, buddy. Thank you, and look forward to seeing you in the next couple of weeks in net and in Queenstown.
Thanks, Gooch. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, buddy. Well, I'll tell you what, I really feel we should have been able to take care of these technical issues, but we didn't. Paul will be back with you on Thursday. He's got a great reunion with 15 years of a gold medal. We're so excited for him. We're so proud of him. And of course, goalies, they get along really good. Driedger and I know he didn't like me because I was always scoring on him. Never had a chance, and I never could score on him. He was that great. All right, guys, listen. The Rosen Report will be back Thursday. Don't forget, make sure you check it out. 4 o'clock. It will be a 1-hour special with Paul Rosen. Tomorrow, you watch 4 o'clock, Gooch Live. We will be bringing you one of the shows to tell you what exactly is going on. Thank you for being with us. It's been brought to you by the good people at the Hockey News and, of course, Sports Illustrated.
You've been listening to the Rosen Report, sports like never before, with your host, Rosie. Brought to you by Gooch Live and Paramount Sports Management.